Have you ever had one of those rides where you get off your horse and you're thinking to yourself, this is what I have been missing? And whether it was that you hadn't been riding in ages and this was one of your first rides back, or whether it was you done something different with your horse and you kind of feel re-inspired and just ready to go. Very often, that initial enthusiasm, it wanes very quickly. And while in that moment, you may feel like so excited and so dedicated to everything going forward, to actually keep that going, to stack more wins on top of that win, that can be the challenge. And that's what we're going to talk about today. How you can stack the wins so that you can get consistent progress in your riding. Okay, let's dive in. Hey there, and welcome to the Daily Strides podcast. My name is Lorna Leeson. I'm an equestrian trainer and coach, and I work with riders from all over the world, helping them to become more consistent in their riding, make more progress with their horse, and all the while doing this if they don't have a regular coach or trainer in the arena with them. Okay, and one of the things that you need to really be thinking about if you find yourself in this boat, in the boat of working without consistent, regular help, is that we need to find a way for you to start stacking wins, because we all know that feeling of that kind of one ride wonder where we're just feeling absolutely brilliant. We get off the horse, it feels fantastic. It's like, yes, I can still do it. Okay. And you're just feeling like this was the best day ever. Okay. To quote my 6-year-old, but yeah, like it just feels really good. And it almost like helps you to, begin to, if you want to have that trust in yourself again, which I know sounds strange, but as riders, especially if we haven't been doing something regularly for a while, or if the thing we've been doing just has left us feeling a bit, like not all that inspired, we can lose trust in ourselves and in our own abilities and in, I suppose, even our decision to maintain or to keep going as a rider or with our horses, on that journey. But when we can then take that one win, that one little nugget of proof that you're on the right track, and when we can begin to stack that with lots of other little nuggets of proof, that is where you're actually going to really and truly rebuild that self-belief and reestablish the trust not only with yourself, but also with your horse as well, You see, the win is like a one-time thing. It's just this moment in time, that day, best day ever, It's that kind of part of it. But what we need to do as riders to really get results in our riding and to transform things is we need to repeat it over and over and over again and mix that in with the whole magic formula of time and consistency, because that's where you're going to get results. So I think that for many riders, we tend to rely a little bit too much on that motivation, on that initial excitement, the enthusiasm, all of the good things, that come from that maybe single win, that you then are like, this is amazing. I'm going to keep going forever. That's probably not going to happen, because you know what's going to show up? Oh, lots of stuff that you never thought was going to show up, And it seems to almost be put there in advance so that when we get on the road to starting back into like really feeling passionate and feeling inspired about our riding and our training and our work with our horses, these things will line up, and we need to begin building a system that is going to help us to work through that rather than just relying on that initial motivation. I also think that very often when we feel that little burst of energy and all the good things, that come out of that great ride, the best day ever, when we feel that, we can fall into the trap of then beginning to expect too much too soon, okay? Like we go from literally doing nothing or having the most boring 30 minutes on repeat with our horse day in, day out, to then trying to do a million different things in like 7 days, okay? Or like, I'm going to ride every single day this week, okay? And we get all enthusiastic, but that is, again, it's not sustainable. There's a reason you haven't been riding, okay? We need to try and get it to the point where you're now creating something that's going to work for you. And I also think a big problem that we have as riders is that where we could begin to take that enthusiasm, and hey, I love it all. I love watching riders when I see it in their faces. I think it's great, but I think we need to learn to capitalize on it, and we're not. We tend to just like enjoy it for the moment that it is, and then, it wears off, hey? It will wane. We've said that. But I think if we can learn to capitalize on that, it is going to make a huge difference for us. So my first suggestion for you when you're working with your horse to try and build more of a winning streak as opposed to these like single random wins would be to build in a little bit of kind of recovery, okay, into the consistency and the rhythm that you're creating with your horse. It's proven that athletes, they have to kind of alternate between going like really hard and really fast. Okay, not all hard and fast, but you know what I mean, like high intensity. And then they have to have these rest or these easier days, okay? And in doing so, it allows for their bodies to repair, to build, to grow, and it allows them to show up consistently. And I think that this is not just about the bodies. This is also about mentally and emotionally as well, that we can't just go all in. So if you have like a really intense or an emotional or just like a physically hard ride, okay, with your horse, I think that it's important to then think about following that with an easier session, okay? So the next session should be maybe groundwork or a short hack, okay? Something that you can like decompress with. And again, you're going to want to do it again. You're going to be like, no, that was a great day. I'm going to do the exact same thing over again. Yeah, that won't stand up over time. And I think it's really important to build that in. Now, the other thing that I think as riders we could be doing a little bit more of is tracking. Now, I am a big believer, if you've been here for any length of time, you will know this, a big believer in tracking like how many days you're riding. And when we're actually doing this in the live review and planning sessions in Daily Strides Premium and Connection, what I recommend to riders is to actually get a calendar. You know, on those calendars with like all the squares. So it has the month on it, or it can be like a quarterly or an annual thing, okay? But it's got all those squares, like it's a square for each day, yeah? And you can see it right there. And to mark each day you ride with the squares. And what it'll do is you will begin to immediately see where there's a rhythm or where there is a lack of a rhythm, okay? You're going to see that. It's going to show up. It's going to be fairly obvious. But what that's going to be able to help you to do is not only track the amount of rides, but also track how evenly spaced those rides are and how potentially you could help to create maybe a better rhythm, a better consistency to what it is that you're doing with your horse. Now, I would also then track the number of like easy start days, okay? Like, you know, how long did it take you to get out there with the horse? This is especially useful if you're finding that you are struggling with time. You need to try and find ways that you are becoming better with managing the time that you have so that you are just getting out there and getting the work done instead of dilly-dallying and fuffing and faffing around the yard, kind of, you know, getting everything ready to get the work done, okay? So I think if that's been your issue, track that. Like we're like, oh, you know, today I slipped up a bit. We spent an hour and a half before I actually put my foot in the stirrup or whatever the case is, okay? You know you. But I do think this is important as well. I've seen riders do this so many times. It's like a form of procrastination. Just get in there and get the job done, okay? Another thing you could track would be your confidence score after each ride. Like, you know, track it out of 5 or out of 10. How confident were you feeling? And again, like if you don't struggle with confidence, don't bother with that. But what I'm saying is take something that currently you feel is coming against you, actually stacking those wins. It's maybe creating tension or resistance to that happening, and then find a way to track it, and track it out of like 5 or 10 or whatever, okay? Or like yes or no, make it as easy as you can. But I think that you will really and truly feel like you're making progress when you can actually see that in front of you on a pen and paper, or you could do it digitally, but hey, I'm a pen and paper sort of person. So, but yeah, whatever floats your boat, I think that would really help as well. Now, the final thing that I'm going to say here that you could use to help you to begin to kind of get those wins and start stacking them would be, instead of seeing your rides as like a cramming session, okay, that you're trying to do everything, like you're trying to work on 10 different things in each session with your horse. I want you to rather see it that there's like small 1 or 2 specific things that are nicely spaced, okay? It's almost like interval training, but you're doing it with the work you're doing, okay? So you're just spacing it out, like you're repeating a couple of key exercises every few days instead of like drilling on it, going on and on and on and on and on. No, you want to be able to like blend it into what you're doing with your horse all the time so that it has that repetition that's going to help the two of you learn even more. Okay, so the very next time you ride, you are going to, before you get off, you're going to decide what you're going to be working on the next time you get on. Now, before you, really and truly, before you take your feet out of the stirrups and you swing your leg over, okay, to dismount, you are going to make a decision. You're going to say, I know that I'm going to work on this the next time we ride, okay? And even if it's just to repeat what you done that day, and you're going to say, no, I'm going to repeat this, it went really well, or I'm going to repeat this to see if we can do it better, whatever the case is, you are going to do that. Then you're going to track it. I know, but you have to be writing it down. Like, you have to be keeping an account of this somewhere. You just won't remember, I'm telling you now, okay? So write it down somewhere. I record voice notes, do whatever you have to do, but really and truly just write it down, how the ride went, what happened, what was good, what didn't go so well, what you need to work on the next day, anything you noticed, all that, okay? Write it down. And then think about using shorter, more focused sessions to remove the barriers, okay? So instead of that long cramming session where you're putting everything in, no. Keep it short and sweet, and think of it as being the repetition that you're looking for now, okay? To get you back into that mode of actually beginning to see wins every single time you ride. And not only that, to begin stacking them to make the progress in your riding. And I think that it's important to understand that most riders who are making progress and who are seeing results in their riding, they're not just winging it. Like, they're not sitting there going, okay, like, what'll I do today? Fingers crossed, it all works out well, okay? They know what they're working on. They've built a rhythm that works for them, works for their horse week after week, okay? Now, I'm going to be sharing more about that rhythm in the next episode, but what I want you to do now is just take what I spoke about today and begin seeing what you can implement this week to begin your winning streak, okay? Like, to get you on the winning streak, to get you on the winner chicken dinner, okay? To get you there, to get you and your horse working together. And if you are out of ideas of what to do, if you don't feel at all inspired, if you're not sure about any of it, jump on over to stridesforsuccess.com/15. It's the number 15, just 15, and you can get the 15 minutes or less freebie. It's got loads and loads and loads of ideas that you can do with your horse for all different categories of things in 15 minutes or less. Okay, I am going to leave it there. Have an absolutely fantastic day, and I'll chat to you soon. Be good. Bye.